So now let's go through Bitcoin. So I in the previous session I started with Bitcoin but ended up with a trading strategy. And But now let's focus on Bitcoin. Right. So I'm going to use few things. One is my manual TA. This supports. Now this is a warning level, as I said, and below S7, which is 38K level range, to me it's a risk level.
Welcome back to Tech Check. I'm Deirdre Boza with Carl Quintanilla. Market.
Sorry for that. I was watching. Okay. Right. So these are the support levels with you. Below S7 is a risk, and S8 is the last major support. That means then this whole entire recovery bounce will is kind of no use in a way, because this is the last avenue, last support. Now, if I zoom out, then weekly. To me, this weekly move yesterday, I mentioned that the weekly is weak, and we are seeing the effect. We are tracking the. Let me hold on. Open our stamp. Okay. So, um, as indicated yesterday, the weekly was looking weak, and then we see the effect here. Now, this is something similar to this candle, which I mentioned in our a week ago. This bottom can be related with this one. See, not every time things are repeated, but there are signs, and if it gives a sign, then we may say, oh, now it's something similar, not exactly the same, because there are three, four touches here. Not necessarily it will do the same, but definitely what it did here is, from a wave structure point of view, this is correction, right? Account, and then this is a recovery bounce, a first major recovery bounce, and then this is a retracement. Now from here, now this was consolidation, so this was straight, it was going down, and this was the first significant bounce, and now this is retracing. So this is totally normal behavior. Okay. um, this is totally normal behavior, but definitely is on edge. So we have to see how it pans out, whether it continues going down like this one, almost touching, or stay near S6 S7 kind of a range, and then recovers from here. And in that case, it could go up like this, right, and recover fully. So more like a retest, not fully, but kind of a retracement, and then go. So this is a scenario. Now point is, this could happen at any level, from here, here, any level. um, it's impossible to know from where. However, what we know, different levels. So when it hits certain level, we can expect that, okay, it's going to react in terms of bounce, in terms of some kind of a pause, consolidation, some kind of a reaction, that kind of reaction, right? But um, but in general, what we are seeing here is, this is a correction, this is a recovery pass, and now this is retracing. The retracement level could be of any range, right? And it could go down all the way here and still go up, right? Now, as I said earlier in the session, trader has to decide what my goal is. If it bounces from here, as I said in my previous session, then I would take at that level which I shown. But if it continue going down, I will happily take my trade, because see, when you don't have finite money, right? Personally speaking, it's not that I have infinite cash. So one of the reasons behind my decision, today's decision, was also that, what if it continues going down, then I will have opportunity to re-enter. So I'm going to re-enter at certain level when I see a good candle, a good bounce like this. So in that scenario, if it goes down, let's say continues going down, and then gives this kind of a scenario, then it gives provide me another entry that I'm in. So it's a choice. So if it goes from here, then I would like to wait for a certain height, because I don't want to get fooled by this price action. By little bit of price action, I'm not going to get fooled, right? I want significant nice weekly candle like this for me to say, okay, now it doesn't want to go down but up. So like this weekly candle was an amazing candle. It shows the, but things are dynamic, right? There are a lot of things happening, geopolitical and other macro factors, and ultimately we are analyzing charts, so reasons could be many. But what we would like to see, that how different reasons boils down to the price action. So if we get a nice green candle after correction, then that will be a welcome move, and make me interested to re-enter in that case. So re-entry can be at this level or this level. So by no mean BTC is crashing below or crashing or ending its uptrend. Okay, that's not the interpretation. However, I don't believe in waiting for the last moment. Just if you imagine, if you're in the water, you don't wait to get out until the water is at nose level, right? Or whatever, neck level. You start doing something when water is rising, and if you have it's you have no way to get out. I mean, it would be suicidal in another way to wait for the last moment. So it's like common sense, basically. There's nothing fancy about or nothing special about the strategy. So point is, this is the level where ultimate level, this range is the ultimate level for this uptrend to continue. So to me, this is a first correction, then up. So whole entire thing is consolidation. To me, it's a positive consolidation, a very positive consolidation. It's building a platform. So this is a miniature version, or miniature version of this setup, in my opinion. It's not exactly same in terms of geometrical shape, but it gives you that idea that how the first retracement and then a bounce, and second retracement which is a higher low. Similarly, this is the first major retracement and then a bounce and then a higher low. So this was my breakout level where it reacted, and then it started a new bull an uptrend, another leg on the upside. Similarly, this could be my level where I would expect it to start a new leg on the upside. So if you compare these pointers, it shows you this is my first bounce of level where it bounced. Compared to this one, I would compare, this is a retracement which is a retest of 33k, and I would say, if I want to relate, we are somewhere here. Now I'm not trying to say because it went up this time also it will go up. I believe in seeing things. Seeing is believing, right? There is no scope for assumption. So when you see this, you have to stop here. You cannot assume that because it happened here, this is going to happen again. It might, it can, but you cannot assume it. At the same time, you cannot assume it's going to break down. So seeing is believing. So if it goes up and breaks about this point of rejection, then you can say, okay, now it's going towards the green level, which is this green level, 53k range. And if it is able to break about that range, which is also this shoulder, if you look at it, very important. I'm talking about macro, I'm not talking about low level stuff. Okay, I'm talking about the trend level stuff here. So that's why this green level can be compared with this level. So where it would go up, retrace, so it might go up like this, retrace, and then go for the big one like here, right? And this is what we would like to see from upside move point of view, right? Then it will be a continuation. So to me, the BTC, people think about bear trend and all, but it's a perspective. To me, this is consolidation. This is a bear trend, you can say, if you want to say, but this is a first retracement, bounce, second retracement, and then huge, and the whole entire thing is consolidation. Okay, and then a big move on the upside. Similarly, we have this is a smaller version of this one, right, a child version. And if this has to happen in a similar way, then we would see another leg, which will cross higher than 100K. 128K that you see is the next major level, but not the ultimate level, not necessarily the ultimate level, and not necessarily um, the first level, I mean the last level. But it's a next major level. 100K is not the resistance, 128K is the resistance. Anyway, so the point is, this is how I'm seeing things at this moment, right? We are talking about a big picture here, right? So if this goes down, let's say, then of course all these levels are going to play important role, and we'll be watching closely. And you can imagine that if this level is breached, right, 28K 30, then this is end of the bull trend. I mean, this particular trend that we're talking about, because then the consolidation is broken, then officially this is gone. Right? Why this was not gone? Because this didn't make a new low. It didn't come down to this level 1300 or something where it continued. Right? So it continued like this. So this is totally okay. But if it comes down to this, it is going to create tremendous pressure on the downside. And as and when it happens, we'll see. We'll figure it out, because it's not that easy, let me tell you. And there can be some crazy stuff happen. So but on opportunity channel, we'll try to be a step ahead in the game. See, I always say that we cannot control the market, but will not let market to surprise us. Okay, there won't be any shock, so to speak. We on opportunity channel, so far we were able to figure out what market is trying to do here, right? So we won't be able to do anything about the market, but we can always have a strategy in plan and key levels in mind. And if we understand and recognize those key level and try to plan around it, I think we are in a better position than most of the people who do not have that information. And that's how I see. So it's not about knowing the future, but it's about keeping, I mean, it's about being a step ahead in the game. And I think that's enough. It's like walking. Like when you walk, you take one step at a time. You don't have to think about 10 step, because if your next step is successful, the next one is likely to be successful. It's like that. So because the future unfolds from the present, that's how I see. So if I'm able to predict about, let's say, next 1 week of potential price action, not in terms of exact time, but a level, when it reaches that level, I will unfold another level, and then it will go in recursion in iterative manner, and that's how the future will be unfolded. And that's the right way to do, because then you first of all, you are a step ahead, and the same time you are more accurate. As I said, things get blurry at distance. So the same is true in the same with the weather forecast as well, right? Weather forecast is more accurate when it comes to the day, right? They may say that it's going to be shower, but it might not happen. Maybe the neighboring town gets it or something like that. But when the exact time comes, they refine it. You don't say, hey, you were talking about the shower last week and now you're not showing, because they refine it. They have to refine it for accuracy. They cannot, because they said this a week ago, they had to stick to it. You have to refine it, and that's refinement happens as time comes. So that's what we do. We do have projections. We do have longer term view like this, But we on the BTC daily, we focus on the present and immediate next level, because then we mix together. So here you see the bigger picture, but on BTC daily you see near term picture, present and near term. So, and I always believe that if you understand the present, you understand the future. Okay, people look for the far distant future. To me, it's a futile effort. The key is to understand the present. If the present is, you understand the present, you understand the future. As simple as that. So I strongly believe in that. Okay, so I think I covered this longer term stuff, and we'll be in touch. So there is no issue. Right now, BTC is dancing around. It's just playing game. Okay. Sometime you have to chill. Okay, I mean, let it do whatever it wants to do. If it is confused, and I often say, you think that you are confused, but in fact the market is confused. I'm not kidding. So you don't blame yourself that you don't have clue what is happening. Actually, the market has no clue what it is doing. So don't blame it on yourself. Okay, the market is utterly confused, especially the stock market is even more confused. And it happens because the Fed and the central government, I mean, banks are taking decisions on, monetary policy and all that, right? So it is obvious that it's not easy, for asset to perform like last year. And of course, this geopolitical situation, Russia Ukraine, is also playing a role. So this is not easy time. So my strategy is to look for a short term opportunity. We'll have this kind of a call, not this one, but the the session after this session, where we'll have live Zoom call and look for, I mean, I'll address your question and look around for some opportunities. Of course, you see the major change in the ad hoc channel, right? So the ad hoc channel is providing 10-15% of resistance, and we are able to hit those resistance pretty accurately. And many resistance are hit now. By it's tough situation, but that's a solution. So what we could do is we can aim for small gains unless we see clarity, because right now it's a range bound movement from a big picture point of view, because as you see, this is a range bound movement and there's no clear direction. So this is called clear direction, right? What you see here, this phase is a clear direction, a straight move on the upside. What you see here is a range bound movement. So we have to recognize this, that what phase we are in a big picture, right? So it's very important to understand the life cycle of the wave, what is where we stand, right? And so point is, we are in the middle of something where it's range bound. It's not breaking out and creating a trend like this. So we have to acknowledge that one. Like for an example, imagine when I was not TA, I remember the time, because I'm not a TA for long, right? And if you don't know, I started TA somewhere here in middle of 2018. So I was like any regular trader, new trader, who were like who was totally confused what to do because of this range bound movement. It made me crazy, literally crazy, what to do, because I was doing in and out and I had no clue what is happening. I was panicked. I still remember this drop where I was on that day sweating on couch, trying to sell. The mempool was full. I had fund in Binance that those days, and Binance had no stable coin. Binance had no USD conversion. I had to bring that to Coinbase. I was sweating, and because this was going down, and I had a lot of position on the upside. So very I was waiting for my fund to arrive on Coinbase so I can sell, and ultimately fund arrived right at the bottom, and I sold right at the bottom, went up by 100%, and I was fooled. Then I sold. I bought it on this bounce, and then it went down, and I again sold here, and it went up. I again bought here. So I sold at these two bottoms that you see on my screen. I bought at these two top, and that made me TA. As simple as that. I learned that this is crazy. Hey, this is like not going to work. And then I said, let me understand the wave. Let me understand what is really happening, because the fundamentals were not playing any role there. Everything was technical here. And then I understood, and that was my story. Right. And then I figured out that what might happen. And this was my first bottom call, by the way, on Twitter. Attention. So this is I was very new, actually. I started tweeting somewhere here in August, September, um, and this was my first bottom call. Anyway, so point is, now situation is different. I can see what is happening. This doesn't bother me, and I accept that this is part of the game. Okay, and we have to accept it. And so the thing is, this is another fact. When we don't accept the scenario, so there are two things. One is the expectation, and another is the reality. When the expectation mismatches with the reality, conflicts occurs, and that conflicts leads to tension and anxiety. The moment you align your expectation with the reality, then everything is fine. Even the so because the bias, the expectation, is the number one culprit. When we are aligned, so it's like going with the wind. It's not that every day you change. We're talking about big picture here, right? So it's not that every day you flip flop. We know the big picture here. I just explained. So you know what level is a better level. You are not bothered about this intraday movement. Now you have this clarity after this explanation. Right? I wish I had someone who would have explained this, because I remember those four in and out. I mean, two major in and out, losing a lot of money. Not a lot of money, but significant money. But it's not about money. It's about not knowing what is happening. That was the killer. Like find like clueless what is really happening, right? So that won't happen here on the opportunity channel. It won't happen. So I think then that's a to me that's a big deal. Other thing, accuracy of resistance and everything, that you will get it, that's not a problem. I think at this moment the key thing is to align our expectation with the situation, whether we like it or not. And sooner we align, so it's not about being bull or being bear. This is not what I'm saying. It is just go with the flow, go with the wind. If the wind is north or south, the goal is to sail, right? Goal is not to go north or south. Goal is to sail. The wind, if the wind is blowing in north, we go north, because the goal is sailing here. Goal is not to go north. People think that I want to go north, north, up, up, up. No, goal is to make money, right? So goal is sailing. Sailing can be any direction. So when you go against the wind, sailing is tough, right? So that's my message, right? So my goal is make money. I don't care whether make money on the downside by shorting, I mean, or going up and longing. It doesn't matter to me, because it's about taking the right direction and making money. That's trading. Okay, anyway, so I explained BTC as well, and few other things, my own story when I was not TA. So you will be able to relate with your, probably, because I'm sure everybody has gone through similar challenges. And unless you I mean, there is no one I can think that would be a winner from day one. Everybody loses. Thing is, whether you are able to bounce back or not is a question. So I would say losing is fine, but don't lose everything. That's the thing. That's another message. Okay, because if you lose everything, you're out of the game. So losing is part of the game, but it should be minimum. right? Everybody loses, even I lose trade. But the thing is, are you winning? Is there any net win or not? That is important. Also, it's not about number of loses, it's about percentage loss. Sometime you enter 3 times and you have to get out. That's all right, number doesn't matter. It's important how much you're losing, because one good trade can give you or recover more than those 3 lost trade. So number of wins and number of losses are not important statistically. What percentage gain you get out of it compared to the losses, aggregated net effect, that matters. Okay, so it's not about 6 win out of 10. It's not. Even if you lose 6, but you loss less in those 6 losses, those 4 wins could be a big one. So it's not about number either. Okay, so point is, the risk management is very important. So if you are entering and you have to get out, don't think that you're is doing in and out. Thing is, you're preserving your capital. So it's important, and that's where my incremental approach comes in. I'll keep on repeating this one thing, whether you like it or not. When you have cash, when you're starting, never put 100%. Okay, if you want to, I don't insist anything, but I would insist this thing: never put 100% money to start with. You may take this as financial advice, I don't mind. Never put 100% money to start with. Okay, increment, add more only when you start gaining, no matter how the coin is pumping or not. Okay, just never. Number one rule, and probably the most important one: never put 100% money to start with, and you see the difference later. You'll remember me. Okay, with that note, I'll end this recording and then open for any question.